But Nongshim have been prioritizing these team comps where you're trying to get these duos and combos, which is why I was saying they might pick red side. However, thankfully, because I do want to see the other side of the coin here, they will choose blue as you predicted going into game number 2.
Yeah, possibility of that Jace first pick, but I highly expect
it's going to get banned.
Damwon Kia will ban that one away. They had a fair bit of flexibility in their first round of bans, but Aurelia, Diana, or Aphelios certainly are very heavy Nongshim champions. So it's likely that Nongshim might be able to find themselves a draft that they like a little bit more. The thing that I'm very interested in is whether or not, if Jace and Diana are both left up, which gets first picked? Is it going to be a pick for the style of Nongshim, which is the Diana, or is it going to be a pick for making sure that Rich has the most comfort he can possibly get? As we can see him on our screen right now, once again, the Syndra will be banned away, and the Aurelia also going to be denied.
It's a good question, and if I'm Nongshim, I lean towards the Jace because it is even blind a matchup, or there's very few counter matchups, right? And it's Damwon Kia, you're not going to pick Wukong highly. And Diana can be picked later, but Diana will be banned actually by Nongshim themselves.
Wow, interesting.
Really valuing this champion extremely highly, even after she was nerfed slightly on this patch. We'll see if the Jace is let through. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that Jace probably should be banned here.
If it is, you could still go to the Rise. Lee Sin, also a go-to pick here potentially. It's not really what Peanut is liking to play right now, but one that obviously he has a ton of experience on and is very strong at. They'll ban the Renekton, so Damwon Kia could take whatever is not chosen, but I would have preferred the Jace here.
Me too, but the Lee Sin, I think that this is more Nongshim valuing the Lee Sin for Peanut, because we know that Peanut, fantastic at Lee Sin, going to be a very different playstyle, but also...
Deny pick.
Yeah, I think it's mainly a denial. Canyon has been extraordinarily good at this champion, and now, Damwon, it's their turn to be able to pick away the Jace. They will also be able to, find a potential jungler to answer that of the Lee Sin, unless they want to keep their options open. I wouldn't mind, Jace Ziggs, Jace Leona, something like that.
I mean, the synergy between the Jace and the Ziggs is so extremely high, but this time they're left with the possibility of playing the LeBlanc here. Now, this also does put your solo lanes face up and does deny a lot of your opportunities to counterpick that second solo lane later on. So even though I think the Showmaker LeBlanc is very exciting and I'd love to watch it here, and it will be banned away if they don't get it in this first phase, the Ziggs is the safer option here.
I think it needs to be picked, right? I think the LeBlanc needs to be picked away because then Damwon Kia get to go into the next round of bans with the LeBlanc in their back pocket, and they can ban away things like the Lissandra that can give her a little bit of trouble.
It also makes the Rise pick a little bit weaker here. You don't worry about that one as much, so it's kind of a soft ban on that in a lot of senses, because that was another pick that could have gone through alternatively here for Nongshim, but now you have kind of picked it away in a sense. And the last pick here likely to go to something like a Varus, or if they want to go with scaling route for AD carry, it's also an opportunity. But you could, this is not what I expected. I was going to say you could go something like Leona and just kind of wait and see, but it's going to pick the Kennen directly. So we're going to have that same matchup very likely in the top lane.
Everything Leona goes over here, but yeah, the Leona does make a lot of sense here for Damwon Kia. Doesn't show their hand as far as that mid lane either, but this gives Nongshim the ability to take away some potential options that Showmaker may have into the LeBlanc. Don't know what his preferred choice would be, because you don't necessarily see Showmaker as a Lissandra player or anything like that, but certainly could pick that one up if they would like to.
Ezreal ban.
Yep, some Docdom bans to come through here. Some respect on certainly the star player of Nongshim.
We have a lot of burst with the LeBlanc. The Lee Sin has a lot of potential to get picks as well. And so what you want to shore up now as Nongshim when you are looking towards your final picks here and your AD carry is consistent damage throughput. That is going to be exactly what Ezreal is going to offer you. And also what something like a Jinx could offer you is, you mentioned the Lissandra, that does get removed here, so no opportunities for Showmaker now to have that extremely strong counter pick.
Yep, I do like this for Damwon though. They sort of force out some of these anti-LeBlanc bans, which will free up Canyon as well as the Yuumi going to be banned away here. Lucian is still available, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's necessarily going to be something that Showmaker wants to take into a LeBlanc, but maybe, just maybe, certainly can dodge out of the chains with your Relentless Pursuit, and you do have a fair bit of control in the laning phase, but does become LeBlanc food towards the later stages of the game. This Twisted Fate,
another way to really lock down every champion that Nongshim has put onto the board here very easily, point and click with that gold card. And the Rise will come through, even though it's not a matchup that you feel great about. It's not a very bad matchup either. It is going to give you that same sort of potential macro control that we saw from Showmaker last game, where you're always where you need to be at the exact right time. Win those skirmishes in the lanes as time ticks down here, and they will lock it in. But the question now becomes, what does Duckdom play here? Because Thresh is still open, and so you can go for something like the Jinx Thresh here, and I would really like it. I think it kind of rounds this composition out very nicely.
I don't know whether Thresh is the support they want. Maybe they'll want to focus on a bit more engage output as
Samira Rel.
Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about this last game, and it's going to come through.
That's a way to do it. As Rel, fantastic engage opportunity with the Crash Down and the Magnet Storm, of course, and Samira is going to augment that.
And the Trundle we saw banned away last game will actually come through, and this time not as the support, but as the jungle pick here for Canyon. So they have a lot of ways to set up for the poke and consistent damage they have. I really do prefer Damwon Kia's draft for the same reasons I did the last game. But if you look at Nongshim's comp, there's a lot of burst, there's a lot of pick potential. There's so many ways to pick off solo champions if they are caught out of position. And Barrel's on one that's very difficult to kill, so that's a good sign for Damwon Kia. But when you look at Nongshim's comp, it's a different version of what we've already seen before. You're looking to go for a Crash Down to a Magnet Storm. The block goes in, you press a Samira ult button, and you look for the Wombo combo.
And that's what Nongshim like to do, right? They like to set up for these Wombos. And very much looking forward to seeing whether they can actually do it this time. I feel like it's a comp that's gauged a little bit more early game, but still plays the same style that Nongshim have shown that they are so good at. So I think this type of adaptation is exactly what they need, but they need the play to back it up, right? They need to be able to come out with a faster acceleration, change cards between games, Yeah,
we're going to have to shift gears up, you know? We're going to have to be looking for
It's the Dolphin bike. They need the Dolphin bike, not the Mark bike this time around, I think.
Because Damwon Kia have the better late game. And if you give them freedom to actually go through that mid game unopposed as they did last game, then they're just going to run away with it. And that's what's so scary about Damwon Kia right now, and always, to be totally frank, when they have been dominant. This is the kind of play you don't want to face. This is the kind of draft that is so terrifying.
Yeah, and also Trundle, quite good into the Lee Sin in the early stages. Of course, anyone that is melee that tries to do physical damage is going to have a rough time into Trundle. So looking forward to seeing how Canyon's going to play this one out, as he's gone for Predator Trundle.
Predator Trundle, that's
the
a rare
trolls have got out from under the bridge, and they are on a rampage, desperate to try and get in there and really cause some havoc. So, in the early game, this is going to give a lot of ganking potential to Canyon, who can get in there real quickly with not only the W that he can put down, but also moving real fast with the Predator. Like it, like it.
This is the best season that Nongshim as an organization has ever had, by the way, just for those who didn't know. This is the first time they've ever made the second round of playoffs, even since the Dynamics days. And it's a huge moment for Nongshim because they've gotten so many fans this season. You can see Peanut in that camera shot there for just a moment, is smiling, helping cheering up at this team that had a struggle in game one. You can see he's the only face that is somewhat cheery at the moment, but this would be such a huge moment for Nongshim if they could go to the grand finals. I think that there's a lot of pressure on these players, especially someone like Rich, who was basically told by everyone, you will never be good at League of Legends. Heroes was the easy game. This is the hard one. And when he played for Genji at the beginning, he was ridiculed by a lot of people, had a rough start to his career in Dynamics. And now, he's just 3 wins away from going to an LCK Grand Finals.
Oh, exactly. They could theoretically do it. However, time will tell. They are currently down in this series for now. And I do want to talk about stakes just a little bit going beyond this LCK final that obviously both of these teams are fighting desperately for the reasons you mentioned for Nongshim, as well as the fact that Damwon Kia want to do what no other team has done, which is pick up 3 LCK titles in a row, which will be absolutely huge for them. But outside of that, if you're like a T1 fan or a Gen G fan, both of those teams will be guaranteed going to Worlds if Damwon Kia wins this series. It will be Damwon Kia, Gen G, and T1, all 3 of them. will be in there as a flash immediately from Ghost here on the bottom side of the map. Is Kellen taking some damage? Doctarm as well, really asserting his dominance here with the Samira, the other option that he has as far as countering out the Ziggs.
Yeah, you got to respect that level 2. Leona doesn't have it yet. You cannot turn on that. That was a really nice satchel there. Unfortunately, no way to punish. As Peanut looks for a really early level 3 gank here onto Khan.
Yeah, look at his wraparound, man. There is so much space that he has bought for himself as Rich is down to half health. This could potentially be dangerous as there is the empowered Shock Blast, gets the hammer throw back as well as Khan, understanding now that things have become dangerous, does get into the brush there as now Rich is going to immediately flash. Can we find the autos? Yes! First blood goes to Khan. Now Canyon trying to get here in time. Will he be able to find the pillar is the question. The flash forward from Peanut, but now Canyon is on him. The chomp's going to come down and Canyon says, yep, that's going to be enough as Rich is going to teleport back to lane, and Khan should do the same thing. Neither of these top laners now with their teleports as Gari making his way north, but that's exactly where the trolls are, which is dangerous territory.
Yeah, that's a scary rotation he made there. Does end up taking a ton of damage, actually, on his way back to turret. And now Canyon can actually steal this extremely important blue buff away from Peanut. The timing of this works out so well as Peanut paths back to jungle, so that's going to be a lot of gold and experience stolen away as 12-5 career here for Canyon on the Trundle, who's just leapt right back in the meta. Peanut's like, ooh, that's a bad sonic wave to toss. You're like, ooh, feels so bad. But you know there was a possibility. Look at the farm. Yeah. He spent so much time going for that gank. His jungle's getting stolen. He's doubled.
And he was there for the counter gank as well. That's the thing that's so difficult, right? Is because Peanut got down so low, he had to go for the reset. And that buys Canyon so much more space as the bottom side Rift Scuttler is still available. There's some chains going to land here onto Showmaker, who tries to throw some flux back and will be able to do so.
And Peanut, look at where he's going right now. He's like, well, there's a scuttle, but that's all there really is, because there's no real camps he could steal away from Canyon at this moment in time. The lane is pushed too far on the bottom side of the map for him to actually make any impact there. The lane was pushed for Gory, so, you know, even though he looked for the chains, there's nothing he could do to empower the mid lane. So Peanut is just kind of caught between a rock and a hard place right now in terms of his farm, and now Rich is all alone.
Yeah, we're looking for a dive potentially. Showmaker also roaming up. Shock Blast going to hit, and now Canyon's going to come through. Sticks Rich between the wall. A beautiful pillar, and Khan is going to get another kill.
I mean, you don't talk about pillar mechanics all too often, but when they're that good,
Ooh,
I mean,
that's the dream.
That was
pillar
the best
placement.
pillar. Like, he's unable to move. He's unable to act. He does not have flash. You know he can't flash the pillar. And Rich played that safe, but look, he doesn't have 6. You know there's an opportunity for this gank. You know Peanut has to be elsewhere because he was stolen his camps. There's no camps for him to be taking around the side of the map. So if Peanut's hovering here, he's wasting even more time. So you know he's not going to be there. It's such an easy play to make, but the pillar is just the cherry on top.
That's glorious. We're going to see this outplay as well. Khan really, even also getting the siege minion. And, I know a lot of us, Jonas Strong especially, love that. Gets the flash. And now he's like, yeah, you can take me if you want. Not too worried about it.
Even gets one more auto off. Almost gets the second there. And yeah, Peanut does have flash, but loses it there. And he calls it out. Look at this pillar.
Oh.
You were just out of luck, my dude.
Yeah, it's just not what you want. Also, Pillar of Filth being in use there. Love it. Very, very happy about that one. Not Frozen Domain either. It is the old one that I did get reminded of recently on Twitter, but have once again forgotten, which is quite sad. But it is Pillar of Filth that really does stick in the majority of people's minds.
Jason Trundle, another pairing you don't really think about all too much, but it is very great when you have, you know, a lead as the Jace. The Trundle becomes so oppressive when you are stomping that lane.
You also,
so great.
That stat is weird though, right? Because
it is a bit of a deep grab.
Yeah, so it's also taking from
two extremely strong champions.
Yeah. It's like from the second half of the summer split where Trundle decided to debut at like ridiculous power level, as well as the Jace being so strong. So I don't know whether it's a synergy stat, but it's definitely a these two champions are good stat.
I like it when Jace is having a... Okay, hold that thought. Canyon's here.
No flash, remember, as he does have the ultimate, but he doesn't have his life. So you need to have your life in order to get yourself some kills. So that's another one onto Rich.
This is...
can't afford to be up that far.
Yeah, he can't afford to be up that far. Flashless still. And, you know, Canyon's going to have level 6, doesn't even need to use it, of course, in this scenario because it just takes so much damage. Rich's ultimate is very, you know, great at escaping against one target, but not against two. And like I was going to say right before we went into that exchange, is Jace is great when he's winning with Trundle. Trundle helps him win so much more. And guess what? He's winning 1,300 gold to lead in the top matchup right now. And this is where things get unplayable for the Kenneth, who is just now about to get his flashback online. As look at Showmaker. Like, he's taking a trip to the top side of the map. They have so much control right now. And as Rich, you hit 6, so you feel fairly safe into the Jace, but you're not alone.
No, you might be safe into the Jace, but you're not safe into the Jace plus his troll buddy.
Exactly.
Coming from the river. As Peanut's going to start off this Rift Herald under full vision and knowledge of Damwon Kia, as now Gori moving on forward here, looking for Beryl, but Beryl has the Eclipse. He's going to be fine. Ghost doesn't have teleport and is on the bottom side of the map. So it looks like Damwon Kia are just happy to give this one up. Remember what Ziggs can do to turrets?
Yeah. They can,
yeah, real difficult.
They can look to maybe try to steal here, but it's just too risky. I say that.
I mean, Canyon might as well move in to try and go for something. They're at least not going to give it over for free. At least they are in the area.
Yeah.
But it should be 2 plates going over to Ghost here as Beryl makes his way back down towards bottom lane. And I don't mind this decision from Damwon, right? Like, you concede the fact that you don't have as much control on that top side to make sure that the Ziggs can be as happy as possible.
Plus, I mean, there's no reason to give a team fight to Nongshim where they can suddenly get back into the game, especially a Samira comp like this where those types of scrappy fights are where she does best, and if you give her that early lead, she's going to be so happy to push that power into the mid game. Whereas you just go, okay, well, you are just going to leave my Ziggs down there. One of my strongest late game tools is just going to get that gold guaranteed. I don't have to take the risk. And so, yes, there could have been a fight, but you don't need to risk. As was what I was talking about.
Showmaker's here now as well as Rich underneath the turret. The Subjugate goes down. There's the Slicing Maelstrom, and Rich knows that he's dead. Doesn't even opt in for the flash. Canyon still at half health after tanking up that turret. Is now Nongshim looking for a bit of a pickup onto Ghost here. They will be able to get there. As the ulti comes out, the turret not going to be able to do enough. So really good answer to the aggression that Damwon Kia are putting down, but it's still going to be first turret, right? I feel like Damwon Kia still win.
No plate here for Gori, unfortunately, as Beryl holds it down, and Gori actually also misses the chain there. In fact, finds himself in danger now if he does not get back. But that's going to be the whole turret versus just a plate, so...
Whoa, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money going over. Look at Rich's CS, or the lack thereof, unfortunately. He's 0-4-1, and this is not his fault. Now, yes, that second death was kind of a bit on him because he was way too far up. The first death was a little bit of a miscalculation, but the last two is just the ball starts rolling, right? I think that's part of why that stat of this duo was shown, is Trundle just makes it so easy. This is not the first time Showmaker's made a trip to the top side. This time it actually leads to a kill. And Nongshim trying to come down here and punish, but Ghost is playing it safe. As there's just nothing you could do in this scenario as Rich. You have flash, but where are you flashing? Like, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm like imagining like myself as Rich, right? I'm like, how do I get out of this situation? And then the calculation in your mind just returns error.
Yeah, there's like, exactly, you play that scenario out 100 different times, and 100 different times, they're all the same, actually. 100 different iterations, I should say, because
like,
that scenario is never different.
I die in a different position.
Yeah.
That's the result that you get from that one, as it's not exactly optimal, as you guys may have inferred.
Damwon have not taken any Drakes just yet, but...
Oh, God. This is what happens, right?
Yeah, like, Trundle is so oppressive, too.
This duo of Khan and Canyon are just the Bash Brothers, to go back to a Mighty Ducks reference that I love using. As Shelly going to pop her noggin into the bottom side outer turret. That's going to be some extra money over to Docdarm, but as you can see, there are a couple of plates missing from that bottom outer as well. And I was going to state also, like, ideally, you'd probably want to use that Rift Herald to try and get Rich somewhat back into the game, but there was just no way that they could get a minion wave towards that turret.
It's never going to happen. I think the better idea is to get one of your Duckdom or your Gories fed.
Okay, Gory's passive is now being popped. He has teleport, but looks like Damwon Kia are going to be happily giving up this first Cloud Soul.
This is where you can't fight.
Drake, sorry.
Yeah, this is where you can't fight as Damwon, because if you do fight the Samira right when she hits her power spike.
Oh, welcome back to the lane, Gory. It's half of your health gone.
If you do fight as Samira in this scenario, against the Samira in this scenario, and she ends up getting a double kill around the Drake over just a solo Cloud, when you're very happy to let this game go on as long as possible with the composition that Damwon has and the map control they have, because it's not giving up this Drake doesn't mean, oh, well, we're giving Nongshim a way back into this game. That's not what this Drake means. It's kind of a consolation prize for Nongshim at this point, because they wanted that fight, and they're not going to get it.
Well, Distortion has to be used defensively to avoid that Shock Blast. It's another plate that's going to go over here with only a minute and a half left. On those plates, Doctarm trying to assert some dominance here on the bottom side, as Ghost has a level advantage right now, largely due to the fact that Beryl has been absent for the majority of the game. Just doesn't really like hanging out in the lane when there's a Ziggs down there. Of course, Ziggs pretty capable of taking care of himself.
Unfortunately, Leona just has so little impact in that, or rather, yeah, the Leona's going to have so little impact there. You'd rather just not steal the experience away. You just want him to get as much value as possible. Solo, get those plates solo.
It's also the main reason why you put mages in the mid lane, right? Is because they like the experience so much. So you may as well just allow Beryl to find some freedom. He needs to get experience somewhere. As you can see, level 6 at the moment, behind Kellen just a little bit, and that is why Ghost is just that little bit further ahead.
I think for Damwon, the only way they lose this game is if they give Doctarm and Gory an opportunity to carry a fight at this stage, right? Like, if you look at the items right now, you've got the, first item for the Samira. She's got her Infernal Shield Bow, which is going to be so strong at this point in the game. Also, stopwatch is at the ready for Kellen, so you have a really awesome combo there. At this stage, LeBlanc is still very powerful. If she can help finish off those targets, then Doctarm can actually, end up just basically wiping the whole team by himself in a crazy skirmish like that. Also, Rich, he still has his ultimate. He doesn't have items, but he has his ultimate, so he actually can be quite useful in a 5v5 fight. So as Damwon, as long as you don't mess this up, if you just avoid fighting for a little bit longer, you just become more powerful. And they're not just sitting back and doing nothing, they're just avoiding fights while also getting turret plates and getting turrets down and taking more control over the map. They just don't want to ever be in a 5v5 right now because the risk is too high. I'm not saying they would always lose the 5v5 fight, but if Nongshim wins one, they're suddenly back in the game. So you can just avoid that condition for them.
Yeah.
And you're golden right now as Damwon.
And I've loved how they've navigated around exactly that playstyle, right? Like, give up the first Rift Herald, but make sure that you've got Ghost there on the bottom side. Gets 2 plates, negates that particular trade of positioning around the map. Canyon's also just going to come on through here, and with all of that extra control of the map that they've got gained for themselves with how strong Khan is, with being able to take out that outer turret on the top side, they get full control, so it's going to be a herald apiece for both of these teams, as now Gori has to stand here and try his very best to avoid the plethora of items being hurled towards him, and not going to be able to do so and look after that turret, as Ghost is just having a great time, man.
Yeah, and now, Showmaker is starting to get some side lane pressure done, getting some extra gold here. It's actually shoring up some of the very small lead you see from Nongshim there. If you look at the gold graph, it is very even in terms of the mid lane, the bottom lane, slight advantage to Ghost because he's got those extra plates, but it's not an out-of-control game.
No, it's an advantage to Doctarm. He's actually being able to do pretty well.
And it's Nongshim having control of that bottom side in the middle just ever so slightly. It's not a massive lead, but it is where they are at their strongest right now. And as Damwon, you just want to navigate around that, because Samira is going to be much weaker than a Ziggs in the late game. So don't fight her now, fight her later is the plan.
Well, Gori, okay, does have to get around this pillar, but does so. And back to, I believe, his initial distortion is, love this, using it very similar to that of a Cannon Barrage to allow that tempo and macro advantage to continue. Mega Inferno Bomb used just to stop Rich from being able to do anything. He does have a flanking teleport opportunity, and in goes the Magnet Storm. Beryl not in position here, as they are just going to be able to eliminate Khan and get the shutdown goal. Beryl, beautiful Solar Flare to avoid Rich, as the disengage will ensue, but still a win for Nongshim, and I like that. Click their fingers and start an engagement, and that is how you're able to neutralize. Really nicely done as Showmaker teleports towards that top side to catch the next wave.
Yeah, this is the potential you have with this style of composition. You can get those picks, and then you can start to get some of the map control away with it. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to punish Showmaker, but they will be able to take a 2-Drake lead here. Damwon don't want to take this fight for the same reasons we mentioned before, but also you're down 1 Jace at the moment. So Showmaker does hard push top instead. of trying to group up for a skirmish here. But this is the kind of play where you see, okay, there's an extension here, there's an opportunity, and then Kellen just makes the call, I'm going in, collapse on him, blow him up, and they get the stun, the crash down there, it's perfectly done. Attract Repel connects, and that's a dead Jace. Slight overextension there from Damwon Kia, and suddenly Nongshim, a little bit more power on the map.
Yeah, it definitely was Khan being a little bit overexcited with where he was situated on the map. So certainly a great capitalization there, especially from Kellen. Steps into that brush and then immediately he's like, it's storming time. I got my magnets at the ready.
Yeah, and you know, Rich starting to get some gold. You know, he's not going to be a carry in this game, but his ult button will still work.
If he can hold players in position while Docdam spins around and kills a bunch of them, then he is going to be very happy with the outcome of this game. And this is how Rich plays Kennen.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's kind of funny because Kennen can be very oppressive if he gets an early lead and can be straight up a carry and can do tons and tons of damage. You can always shape team fights later on when you're extremely fed as Kennen. But even in a game like this, and many of the games Rich played on Kennen against Afrika in the first round, you're very much happy to still just press ult and be a threat. It's not about how much damage you do, it's how much damage you allow your teammates to do. So he's going for an early Zhonya's because he knows that that is going to give him the most opportunity to guarantee that he lives through those stuns to add a little bit more extra power. The Seeker's Arm Guard also going to make him a little bit more survivable.
Yeah, helping him in the lane was why that initial purchase came in. Yeah. I would like to see the Zhonya's as quickly as possible, though.
I think he might build it first, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Dash Cannon might have to come in at the beginning, but we'll see where he does decide to go.
Because at this stage, like, your Dash Cannon is going to be so good for closing the gap and hitting those ults, but Zhonya's allows you so much more opportunity when you're
guaranteeing the stun.
Yeah, it's like it's both options are, kind of awkward at this stage when you're 0-4. Like, you're not happy with either, but we'll make the choice here shortly.
Yeah, still 2,000 gold to lead here for Damwon Kia, so still in control. As now we've got the Ocean Rift, my personal favorite for aesthetics. Not my favorite, of course, because Cloud Soul is my absolute favorite. But as far as the Rift and the changes, very happy. As Damwon looking to try and grab themselves an inner turret. Pillar of Filth is down as Rich taking way too much damage there. The satchel was beautiful as he does avoid the Mega Inferno Bomb. I was blind from Ghost, may as well go for it there as Showmaker going to avoid the Q from Peanut. But as we can see, Kennen able to back away. Kellen, oh my goodness, I mean, this Jace damage is just ludicrous. As Gory once again trying to get themselves into a spot where they can do some work. No teleport available. Oh my goodness, goodbye.
You're dead.
Yep, Peanut just popped immediately. Another pillar comes down, another Magnet Storm comes in as Kellen immediately blows up this time. The Samira can't do anything either as Canyon goes golden. Gory teleported in, oh no! The hammer does drop, and goodbye LeBlanc. The answer from Damwon this time is just too good.
I mentioned Gory's name right before that fight because he was pushing mid. He had his teleport available, but decides not to come down. And if
the question mark from Rich, he's like, where did my friends go?
And if you stay there as the LeBlanc, and you're not going to be able to really accomplish anything yet. You're going to get some farm, but your team needs you there if you're going to take a fight, because this is not going to get easier. As we've said so many times, it feels like, these first two games have been very identical on how the comps function. And you need to be there to offer that extra damage when the Magnet Storm happens. Because the fact that he's not means that this is just, there's nothing coming from this exchange here. Like, he's still pushing, and Peanut dies, and then you're like, well, I'm under a pillar here. Kellen goes in 2v4, and he teleports, but everybody's dead before he gets here. You got to be here way faster than this, and it's not easy to teleport in because you teleport on top of that turret, you die, actually. They kill you instead of Peanut, or both. But you've got to be with your team.
The hammer interruption saved Canyon's life and killed Gory at the same time. Oh god, that was too good.
And if Gory that doesn't come, it's also better, like at the end. So he comes at the worst possible moment. And yeah, you mentioned the hammer interrupt there is really nice. It's just so much synergy for Damwon Kia in these types of scenarios. And yeah, you've got to commit somewhere else on the map, but you don't have side lane pressure. You've got a LeBlanc pushing mid. She isn't going to threaten any turrets, and you need that extra damage, because if she's not going to be fighting with you now, you're not scaling up for a LeBlanc who's just going to be like, well, now that I've got all my items, I'm going to carry this game. It's not going to work like that in this game unless you get really lucky or Damwon Kia make huge mistakes.
Ooh, good blade well. to avoid the shock blast there. Of course, Samira with some inbuilt anti-poke. Do quite like that, but Showmaker going to walk into this brush. Spotted out there by Rich as this Ocean Soul point available for Nongshim. They are in position, but so is Damwon this time around. Subjugate always going to be there to augment Canyon's health pool. Can he actually get in and try and stop this one? He walks on forward, but he's not going to be able to deny the Soul point as Rich now gets through with a massive slicing Maelstrom, but the Mega Inferno Bomb is also there. Peanut tries to dive forward, the immediate interruption on the S rank, and it's full denial once again. Gori now the one left without any friends. And Nongshim in this game aren't stealing any team fights.
No, not stealing any team fights away, and they're definitely not going to be stealing this Baron that Damwon Kia is going to get handed to on a golden platter after that last
exchange.
a
golden one?
Yeah,
oh no, that's worse than a silver one.
Yeah. It's like a little bit more valuable, but you don't really want to eat off of it. It's very awkward, but Damwon Kia are going to get it.
It's not a practical one, but it's a nice one.
Yeah. It's not as shiny, but it's a little bit gaudy, in fact. But no, it is actually a silver platter in this case. When you watch this engage for Nongshim, you can see how this team composition really could work, right? Magnet Storm, Slicing Maelstrom, then Duck Down presses R. But they're so far behind that they can't live long enough to set this up. And the instant interrupt, as you pointed out, onto the Samira ult, the Inferno trigger there, means that he just doesn't even have an opportunity to wipe anybody. If they could live longer, if they could do the damage faster because they had better items, because they weren't this far behind, this team fight looks beautiful. And you understand why Nongshim drafted this, but they lost so much control again in this second game that they can't make it work.
Doctor could possibly be in trouble. Does have Kellen here. What? Okay, all right, Damwon, you just chill out a little bit here. As Dr. you know, doesn't even get within a screen of his opposition, but they put him on 100 health. Yeah, no, you're not getting anywhere near this inner turret. Now they're looking to try and break the base here on the top side of the map. Impatient, Damwon Kia, but of course they've got a satchel charge that doesn't care about your backdoor bonus.
They also, I mean, they might be able to get 3 inhibitors off this. If they get any kills, the bottom inhibitor turret is already down.
Yeah. And they've got Showmaker pushing in this mid lane.
It's really
that
easy.
minion wave right here.
Yeah, it's really easy to just rotate right over after you get the first 2. If you can get any picks here, it's so tragic, honestly, for Nongshim at this point.
And the poke is just devastating.
Yeah.
Damwon Kia, if they land a shock blast, that's someone on half health. It doesn't matter who it is. As well as if Ghost is able to get these bouncing bombs in position. And then, if anyone tries to dive in on top, they've got the pillar, they've got the satchel charge.
And they have so much work.
Oh God, Gori! Yeah, no. No more distortions, please. It's too scary.
Rich can't flank, he can't get behind this team. There's no place for him to teleport to.
Yeah, I feel
that
like
one ward is the only place.
We've witnessed Damwon Kia hit critical mass in this game, right now sitting at just under a 10,000 gold lead. The inner turret wasn't taken, but the inhibitor top lane is. They go now for a reset. Serpent's Fang already done for Khan. And he's got a Hex Drinker as well, not wanting to be blown up by either Rich or Gori, and I can absolutely respect that.
Yeah, I mean, he did get blown up that one time, so he's very happy to try to shore up that resistance.
Killing very far away here.
He'll be able to get back, but he's not going to be able to engage like he would have maybe wanted to flank over and do for that follow-up Slicing Maelstrom. Look at where Gori is.
And Nongshim have to pull the trigger as soon as possible before any of this incessant poke is going to land. Docdom already down relatively low, wanting to lifesteal it back up as best he can as that shock blast, each of them so dangerous. Damwon just wanting to keep this one moving forward, and every moment the Nongshim aren't engaging, it's a good time as Docdom will take a fair bit of damage there from the Mega Inferno Bomb. Kellen can't engage anymore either, as he is just too low, and that is going to be the second inhibitor. The third one, like you were talking about, Wolf,
it's wide open.
The table, yeah.
But they are going to back off here. They've gotten a ton of extra gold from this. Looks like they want to go for a reset. They have full control of the top side of the map vision-wise, so it's very easy to just set up for this to, back, grab more items, come back down to the bottom side of the map. The fact that Anathemas is up here for Canyon makes him so frustrating to deal with because he can get on top of anybody and just say no to their ability to do anything. And it's really, really oppressive now, the amount of control that Damwon Kia have.
Oh my goodness! Can you write down Khan on your little POG vote thingy?
I wait till the last moment, all right? Because Canyon's been a big help in this as well, but...
And it is your vote, it's not mine. That's been made perfectly clear. I'm not salty about it at all. Absolutely.
I'm still
picks up the Void stuff.
I'm still looking between the two of them. As Peanut's got hands off the keyboard right now, you can see the state of this game is very much apparent.
Yeah, it's a roughie. Canyon taking a bit of damage here. He's got Subjugate, doesn't need to use it. Just puts down the Pillar of Filth. And now looking to try and deny this Ocean Soul. Ocean Soul would actually feel really good if you're Nongshim. So if Peanut can steal it away, maybe it's going to help them with a potential ultimate defense. We know that this team is pretty good at playing ultra-long games. But Damwon Kia not really going to give them the option. They've got a full monopoly on the vision. And Peanut, he's coning away. He's not going to be able to get through here.
And like I was mentioning before, the fact that Nongshim gets a Drake advantage doesn't matter that much in this game because Damwon Kia don't care about it. They're so far ahead. And the Soul is an Ocean Soul against a comp that has so much burst damage that you just don't even care about the regen. There's not really a regen in the equation when you're sitting underneath your inhibitor turrets or Nexus turrets trying to defend. You can just go to the fountain at that point, and that's where we are in this game.
Yeah. Oh no, there's no stopwatch available for Rich. No Zhonya's there either, so
he's only
every
got a
time
flash.
he takes damage, right? Like, he's just not going to be alive long enough to get anything. As there's the Mega Inferno Bomb. It's going to land a fair bit of damage. Kellen immediately going to get interrupted and blown up by Ghost. Peanut tries to get into the backline for a kick, but he's not going to be able to reposition. Brilliant exhaust onto the Samira. Denies all of that possible damage. And it's a triple kill for the Jace. Damwon Kia will destroy Nongshim in game number 2 and now earn themselves match point and an invitation to try and get towards that three-peat for domestic titles.
It's just been such a classy game from Damwon Kia. Both games, game 1 and 2, you're playing for the late game, you're playing for scaling up, and you're playing around both in the draft but also on the Rift. The win conditions that Damwon Kia have set, you punish Rich early, then you